Welcome to the Tuning In podcast, where we talk alignment, intuition, and our internal guidance system. We cover woo-woo topics in an approachable and practical way. I'm your host, Dana Evans of Alignful.com. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Tuning In podcast. This is episode 126. So I last left you with two really amazing episodes about processing emotions in real life and what that looks like. If you have not listened to episode 124 and 125, they kind of go together. I highly recommend it. Those episodes are so powerful and gives you a real taste of what emotional processing is like and what the differences are when you feel a charge versus when you don't. So I am back today, and this is a more specific episode. I'm just telling you a bit about the emotional edit. The program is open. I have wonderful, beautiful, amazing people who have joined, and it is open until November 4th. And then I need to ship out all of the embodiment boxes, which is part of the welcome gift for when you join the program. And then our first session is actually on November 7th. So if you're listening to it after November 7th and you're really dying to get in, message me and I'll let you know. And if you're listening to it the week of, I would love to have you in because we've got magic to do. We've got work to do. And this is a really beautiful time of year to do it. So I know I had promised you an episode that is more talks to the mind about logistics in this program, something that is not my strong suit, but I will speak to it in this episode. So just to go over the details. Okay, this is a 1 month long, 4-week program, or rather, as I like to call it, it is a 4-week experience. And it is an exploration of your physical body, your emotions, and your inner voice. So those are the components that we're going to be working with. And it is really designed to be a re-entry into your emotional realm via your physical body. And it's working in the digital world, but also anchoring us back into the physical world, right? Because our emotions, they're kind of hard to grasp, right? Like they live in our bodies, they're energetic, like we use our minds to describe them and put words to them, but they're not really a mental aspect that we need to control or to fix. And what happens is the mind gets really involved in the emotions and it tries to solve for them. And I am here to invite you to not use the mind, but really use your body and your emotions, which is why I say this is a re-entry into your emotional realm via your physical body and your inner voice. Because when we kind of remove the mind from the equation of like, what's wrong? What's happening? How do I fix this? And we start tuning into the body, we can start to ask more impactful questions like, what are you trying to say to me? What message do you have? Where does my attention need to go right now? And that's really going to open the pathway when we start tuning in for you to actually hear the wisdom of your inner voice, which is ultimately what we want to be guiding us. We don't want our emotional charges to guide us. We don't want our mind to dictate everything we do, but we want to be able to find a harmony between all of those with the inner voice at the helm. And that's really where we're going to be exploring and going with this program. So while we will have online meetings, so we'll meet every week on Monday, except for week 2. Week 2 we'll be meeting on Wednesday, but we'll be meeting Mondays at 4 p.m. Pacific. I think that's 7 p.m. Eastern. And it will be a 90-minute session. So we'll have these digital sessions. And then each week you'll have embodiment work to do, which will follow the themes of each week. So we'll have our session. We'll do the session structure is basically 90 minutes. Within the first 45 minutes, you'll have like everything you need to know for the mind, right? So we'll do a 10 to 15 minute opening somatic experience, like to anchor ourselves into the space. We'll do 30 to 45 minutes of teaching and exploring the theme of the week, and then 30 to 45 minutes of coaching questions, a group or one-to-one release, kind of whatever flows in that time. But it's going to be focused on actually experiencing releases or witnessing other people experiencing them. That's really the best way to, quote, learn and to understand what this means is by watching and experiencing it. And then, of course, carrying that into your entire week. So that's what we'll be doing each session. And then you'll have your offline experience, which is where the embodiment box is so important. So the embodiment box, I love curating gifts and beautiful experiences for people to receive in the 3D world, especially via mail. So this embodiment box is really, this is for you, right? This box is going to be this really beautiful exploration of tangible things to help you process your emotions. And what is included in that is the Emotional Edit Journal, which is this amazing 30-day journal that I created with a designer. And it's like this birthing of this beautiful, very important daily practice of assessing your emotions, feeling into your body, and carving out a little bit of time. So that's like the core of this program is the Emotional Edit Journal. Oh my gosh, there's a post on Instagram about it. I'm so freaking excited. This is the most magical thing. I'm like, did I create a program or did I create a journal? I created the journal, and it is such an integral part of the program. So each day you'll be working with that throughout our experience together. And then you'll also have something that is aligned with each week. So there will be a piece of the embodiment box that is a physical, tangible reminder of what your theme is for the week and helps you to tune in via that item. So the themes for the week 1 is express. So we'll explore the power of accessing and identifying feelings and emotions by tapping into your physical body. You'll learn about expressing your emotions through your body, how to speak to them directly, and how to let them actually express and speak back to you. And we will also each week have a body practice, a mind practice, and an inner voice practice, right? So everything's really tying together. But trust me, none of this is going to feel like too much. It will make more sense when you're actually in the program, but this is kind of, again, for your mind. If the mind is really needing more details, I'm breaking this down for you. A big theme of the program is working with your physical space to support emotional clearing. So we'll have a physical clear out practice for each week as well. Week 2 is process. So what does it mean to truly process an emotion? We'll learn to squeeze all of the juice out of an emotional charge when it arises, like really letting it flow through and out. Once you fully process an emotion, you don't have to do it again. And if you listen to episode 125, I talked about how differently I felt between episode 124 and 125 with the emotional charge that I was dealing with and what it felt like to fully and completely process the grief that I had experienced. And now it's no longer a charge. And that's a really powerful thing. So that's the good thing. Once you've fully processed something, you don't have to process it again. The hard thing is we have a ton of charges that are needing to be processed, which is why learning to process is so essential. And you'll have plenty of practice processing a variety of emotions as they arise during this experience, and also witnessing other people doing it as well. I'll also have some audio clips, like meditations, for you to listen to help support and facilitate the processing process. Week 3 is integrate. So your emotional charges are not separate from you. They're part of you that has built up over time. You don't need to get rid of them. Instead, you'll learn what it means to lovingly integrate them back into your body so they can safely settle home and not cause any more chaos, right? When they're all built up and charged, it's like a little anthill, and you trip over them and they're causing a lot of troubles and reactivity and kind of controlling you. But that doesn't mean they're not allowed. There is a place for anger. There is a place for sadness, right? There is a place for pain, for loneliness, for all of it. Every emotion has a home within your body. You're here to be able to process and experience all of them. Every time I talk to my inner voice or other inner voices about emotions, they're like, we want to play with all the emotions, just like we want to play with all of the colors. Like, we want to ride the emotional waves. We want to explore the different saturations and tones of emotions, just like we want to play with saturations and tones and the rainbow of colors. That's why the theme of the journal, the Emotional Edit Journal, and this program really is rainbows. And that's the beautiful thing. However, we're not meant to be stuck in any one emotion. And that's where this integrating becomes really important, is they can pop up and share and express, and then they can settle back home so that they don't become these like stuck areas that we can't get through. And week 4 is regulate. So it's one thing to process intense emotional charges as they arise. It's a whole other thing to regulate your emotions, your body, and your nervous system daily. Regulation keeps charges from building up and allows you to ride your emotional waves regularly. When you spend time regulating your system, you'll feel more calm, peace, joy, and stillness in your daily life. So once we learn and help support a lot of the old charges, then we can start doing the daily process, which is what the journal is really helpful with, of the edit, right? Editing the emotions, going through them, releasing them quickly, really, and effectively, so that you don't get built up charges over time. So those are the 4 weeks. And then supplemental things, of course, you'll have your embodiment box, this beautiful gift box. We'll have our weekly Zoom sessions, and there will be recordings to explore the 4 stages, which I just talked about, of your emotional intelligence. Daily building of your emotional awareness through the Emotional Edit Journal. Private emotional support and clearing audio and video files. So you'll have a group of, in your Kajabi portal, of files that you can use. So listening to audios, I have some nervous system support videos and actually some movement videos as well, because again, this is really about bringing you back into your body and into the presence of now. And anytime we can move the energy in different ways, it's a good thing. We'll do a weekly Q&A, so the Kajabi community will be set up, and you'll be able to ask questions, in which once a week I'll go in and reply either directly to your question post, or I'll do a little private audio that I can upload to that portal where the program is hosted, just answering all of your questions. And then we'll do a little closing ceremony with an invitation to continue this work on your own or with me. And this experience runs officially from November 2nd to December 2nd. So November 2nd is Wednesday when this is coming out. And that's when I'm starting to mail boxes. People are getting access to the welcome content and all of that. So that's like the opening. They'll get access to the Kajabi portal as well. Yeah. So it's a really this is going to be good. If you've wanted to work with me in any capacity, this is a really great starting point. I'm so aligned and inspired to share this with you. I like to think of this experience as like a 101 or 201 course, right? To help you get in touch with your emotions and your physical body using compassionate curiosity. So there's a big element of compassion, of softening, and of going inward. It can feel very scary and heavy and intense to go inward, to sit with yourself, to look at kind of those dark corners of your body, right? To pull up the tar. And that's why we need gentleness and compassion. And here's the deal. You might not want to do some of this. The reason I'm offering this now is because, especially in the US, this side of the world, fall and winter is a natural time to go inward. It's a natural time to slow down. And even like cosmically, I'm not super into this part, but astrologically, I know it's eclipse season, which is like a black mirror. It's like showing you the darkness within you. Darkness not being a bad thing by any means, but what's happening this time of year is you're naturally going to be pulled inward. You're naturally going to have big emotions coming up, and you're naturally going to have to face some of the dark, uncomfortable things. And I want to give you a supportive environment to do that. So you feel held, so you feel contained, so you feel like you're not alone and that you have the tools and resources to do that. And that's what you are going to learn and embody within the emotional edit. And then some fun questions is like, how do you know if this is right for you? Like, okay, Dana, like this stuff sounds interesting, but is this for me? Well, one, you can message me on Instagram at Dana_Evans. You can email me. And if you have questions, happy to answer them. But here are some ways you know if you resonate with any of these that this experience will be really supportive for you. So if you have pent up emotions, and if you don't have a safe or supportive way to express them. If you have trouble accessing your emotions, like if someone's like, how are you feeling? You're like, fine, or I don't know. If you're afraid to get stuck in a low emotion, this comes up a lot with my one-to-one clients, is they're like, I don't want to open Pandora's box and then have all these heavy emotions and just get stuck with like feeling depressed and I can't do anything. Okay, that's not going to happen. And also, if you have that fear, like this freaking program is going to support you. If you judge yourself when you feel anything except good emotions, if you feel really stuck on the idea of what you should be feeling, if you're like, this one's okay, this one's not, this is allowed for 5 minutes, I can't do this, right? If you tend to push through an emotion, like if you tend to jump from a heaviness, like feeling sadness or feeling disappointed or feeling mad, if you tend to try to just jump into the good, jump into the lesson, jump into the joy, jump into, okay, well, this is probably good for me. Honestly, that is a way of emotional bypassing. And okay, it's great that you can kind of see the lesson and that you can coach yourself through it and get to the other side. However, there's a very important aspect that I think a lot of us are missing, which is actually sitting with and acknowledging and honoring the emotion that comes up before using the mind to fix it and jump to the good. In fact, you don't need the mind. The lesson, the awareness, the shift in perspective will come naturally on its own timing. You actually don't have to fix that. So if that's shocking to you, or if that's causing like some resistance in the mind, this will definitely be supportive for you. If you feel really reactive to life circumstances, like if you just get busted up about things left and right, like you drop your pencil, you're driving and someone accidentally cuts you off and you're like, God damn it. Like if all of these things, like if you're like kind of always charged, so little things cause you to react a lot, that means you have emotional charges that need to be released. This is going to support you. If you actually know you have unprocessed emotions, right? If you've experienced some grief or some pain or challenging or traumatic life experiences, and you know that you haven't fully processed it, this is going to be supportive. Not because we're going to go into like the biggest, heaviest emotions. Like this isn't a trauma processing program. That would have to be something separate that I would create. But this is going to give you all the tools and the baseline and the regular practice of expressing so that when these bigger emotions feel ready to be processed, right? They'll only process, we talked about this last week, when it feels safe, right? When you have the space to do it and when it's the right time. So by learning the tools and the baseline and building that emotional intelligence foundation here in this program, when it's time for those bigger emotions to show up and to be processed, you'll be really well equipped. You can call me, so you don't have to do it alone, but you'll be way more prepared to handle that. If you're uncomfortable expressing emotions, either alone or in front of others, I know this happens a lot, is we feel either a little shame or guilt, like it doesn't feel safe to express ourselves and express our emotions. That doesn't mean everyone deserves to have the vulnerable part of you expressed. But if you have a deep discomfort with that type of expression, come on in. If you have trouble noticing what you actually want, if you find yourself easily swayed and not hearing or acknowledging your intuition or the nudges from your body, and ending up in situations or relationships or repeating patterns that are like not aligned with your truth, that's actually a sign you have unprocessed emotions. That's a sign that you're so blocked from your inner guidance and your mind is so active that you're not able to listen and follow the cues that your body is giving you. That's a big one. If you feel disconnected from your body, right? If you can't really sense and attune to the sensations in your body, like what is it doing right now? This can show up too is if you have pain in your body, unexplained pains, like frozen shoulders or really tight jaw or really weird pains in different areas of your body that you've addressed physically and you've addressed maybe with food, but still somehow they're showing up. That's a really good sign that these are emotional charges stuck in your body. And when you learn about emotional processing and when you do it, the charges will disperse as well and the pain will start to subside. It's true. I've seen it over and over again with clients. It's amazing. If you feel numb, if you feel nothing, if you feel like a flatness, a deadness, like a flatlining in your body, an emptiness, a void, those are actually ways of protecting and blocking you from what's really happening. Same with heightened emotions, like if you feel so much and it's like, ah, or if you feel a lot of anxiety. These are just things that actually protect you from your own depth of feeling and from deeper, heavier emotions that your mind might not feel ready or safe to process. So you're not numb, I promise you. There's a lot going on in there. It's just slowing down and being really gentle and compassionately curious and starting to explore that. Then your body will start to open up and share when it feels safe. If you feel too much or if you're easily overwhelmed by emotions, that's an out of balance emotional experience. And so by the regulation here and integration will really help. Sometimes that shows up as you end up processing everyone else's stuff and not your own. And it's really good to start to notice like what is actually yours. And that leads me to the next point, which is you have trouble discerning what is yours to feel and process, and you get swept up in others' emotions. So those are just some of the identifiers. If you relate to any one of them, honestly, that's enough for this program to be really supportive. But I suspect you relate to more than one. So that's really how you know if this is for you. What can you expect? Again, this is an invitation to slow down, right? To tune in, to create space for yourself. That's a big part of this experience. You have to be willing to take this offline, right? We're going to do the work together as a group each week. We're going to be able to talk about it in the Q&A, but the most important thing is for you to take this offline, slow down, and be willing to explore within yourself, and then come to the group in the next week and share about it. My role is as your guide, right? And I'm here as your buoy to hold the light and levity so that you can dive deep into your emotions. You can explore the darkness and the depths and always come back up for air because I'm going to be here holding that vision, right? There's always light to come back to. And as you go through the 4 weeks, you will find yourself feeling more present, more aware, and more at peace. And the reason you can feel more peace is because actually, the more you feel, the more stillness you have. So the more we ride the storm and like shake things up, on the other side of that shaking, there's the pause. You can think of maybe a yoga class, right? Especially if you do an intense yoga class or maybe other athletics. I think of yoga because I'm not as aware that other programs offer you a reprieve and to sit in stillness at the end. I really wish all of them did, but we can choose to do them for ourselves. So after the intensity of yoga, what do? You go into savasana, or what we used to call assimilation pose. So you just lie down and feel. And no matter how hard you pushed, right? No matter how shaky your muscles got, no matter what you did, at the end, you've made it to the other side and you sense the stillness. Right? And it is that exhale. The mind has quieted. The body got worked and squeezed. And now it's releasing and settling. And it's like everything stills. But you can't get to that stillness without going through the class, right? You can't just pretend to do yoga and get that same effect. That's where we do numbing behaviors, right? Like scrolling through Instagram, watching TV, listening to podcasts. Again, there's nothing wrong with any of these things, but when we get stuck in cycles where we're trying to use them to create the dopamine and we're like the happy feelings, that's a fake sense of that feeling. By actually going through the storm, you come out on the other side with a true sense of peace. Thinking of this experience as a big exhale, a way for your body to shed what it's holding onto. This is the season, my friends. This is the time to shed, right? We're preparing, like the leaves are falling off the trees. It's time for you to let go as well. But I can't just tell you to let go, right? That's not a helpful cue. A lot of people say, let go to let in, let go to let in. Well, what does it mean to let go? It's this emotional processing. It's this deep release, this shedding. Then we go inwards, we cocoon, we go into the soil, into the darkness. We hold ourselves there with compassion and stillness and patience. And then the new seeds start to sprout. But we need to give ourselves time, right? We need to shed. We need to settle in to that darkness. But you will always emerge, right? You will always sprout a new seed. And we can't do that when we're sheathed by the old, right? The leaves on the trees, the new sprouts can't grow if all the dead leaves stay on the tree. It can't. So we need the wind, right? We need the shaking. We need the storm to help the leaves fall. Then we get the peace, the stillness of winter, but so much is happening beneath the surface. So you're giving yourself such a gift by allowing for this release. By learning to feel safe in expressing yourself, right? By allowing the mind to settle. You'll attune to your physical body, you'll clear emotions, you'll integrate the entire experience and clear the path to hear your inner guidance more clearly so you have and are able to trust and follow its nudges. You'll leave with an understanding of the language of your body, your emotions, and with this, a deep trust in your inner voice and yourself. Like you'll just start to trust your body more. And your ability and willingness to experience and release the charges of your body and to feel and be with the heavy, intense, low emotions is directly correlated with your ability to experience and enjoy and express yourself in the high emotions and to feel sustainable in them, right? So we want a lot of the high, like I hear this all the time, like I want to feel freedom and joy and bliss. Well, in order to sustain and hold those, it's directly correlated with your ability to feel despair and grief and sadness. So if we don't let ourselves feel the lows, we also aren't going to be able to feel the highs. So we're going to be stuck in that neutral. And neutral is neutral, right? It's neither here nor there. It's fine. But I know for a lot of clients I've worked with, they sit in that neutral. They're desiring more of the expansive emotions, but they're afraid to feel the contractive ones. And I'm here to say you can have them both. And it's safe to express and feel both. And that's what we'll do in this program. It really will expand your capacity to safely feel and regulate yourself so that you can always come back to the calm, steady state of peace and joy. So much goodness. I would love to have you in the emotional edit. Thank you for listening. If you're listening and you've already joined, I'm so excited for you to be in the program. It's going to be so freaking good. I also have a surprise guest, possibly two. I'm waiting to confirm, but I'm really excited about the surprise guest. Everything that I do that's additional to my teaching, again, is just to facilitate the 4 steps, right? Express, process, integrate, and regulate, and really just give you different ways to come back to your body, to come back to yourself and shed what is no longer needed so that you can emerge feeling that deep sense of peace and stillness and clarity. So with that, I hope that has satisfied your mind. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And also, I just know that if you know, you know. And allow that nudge to guide you. Allow yourself to join and allow yourself to step into this next phase of shedding and release so that you can truly emerge when it's time. With that, there will be the link in the show notes to purchase, to sign up. It's $555, if I didn't mention that already, for the program. And there will be an opportunity once you join to get access to do a discounted single session with me of emotional clearing. Sometimes people want a little bit more or they're dealing with something heavier. So I'll open up the opportunity for that only to the people who join at a special rate. And yeah, so November 4th, that is the last chance to sign up. Let me know if you have any questions. And our first session is Monday, November 7th at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. I chose the evening time because I want you to be able to shed the day, right? And ease into the night from our sessions. And I think this program is really about darkness and slowing down in the fall, winter time. And it just felt right to do it in the evenings. You know, you can have a cup of tea, you can take a breath. Mondays, it's the start of the week. And let's reset and prepare your whole system for release. So I'll see you on the inside. Thank you as always for listening. And until next week, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Tuning In podcast. As always, if this would resonate with anyone you know, please share the episode. You can follow along with my journey on Instagram at Dana_Evans or find me on my website at alignful.com.